Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roach.
And I'm Jessica Bun Bun.
This is our Pluribus Season 1, Episode 5 reaction and review.
Mm-hmm.
This episode is titled Got Milk, and the moment I saw that, I was terrified in my bones. The amount of shows that have done milk-related imagery over the past 24 months, that is the stuff of nightmares, people.
Yeah, it's totally enough. I saw that name as well, and I was pretty worried. I was like, oh, here we go again. It's going to be the Mayfair Witches, the boys, like
Uh,
on and on and on. But pleasantly surprised, nothing like that.
No, instead we have an episode that I feel like there's going to be a lot of divided opinions on because it was slow. I am going to give all of you out there who are saying this episode was too slow, it really took its time. Like, you're right. Sometimes Vince Gilligan goes over the top with these long, drawn out sequences, but
How many trips do we need to Sprouts, guys?
listen, I go to Sprouts every day. I give me all the trips to Sprouts. I can take it, but here's the thing. While it was a little bit slow, I think this cliffhanger is all sorts of excellent because this
Yeah.
does put us in this really established place where we have to sit back and wonder what's really going on at this factory.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like she's really on the cusp of discovering some stuff without having to talk to anybody because everybody's gone.
Yeah, every single person in the joint has seemingly just skipped town, and this is probably one of the reasons why this episode was slow. It also just made a little bit of sense where if you are the joined
Yes.
and she just tried to, I know she wasn't intending to take Zosha out, but at the same time, it kind of sort of happened. I would be a little bit wary too.
Absolutely.
Well, we have so much to get into about this cliffhanger, the meaning
Mhm.
behind the joined leaving, because I think there's a lot to talk about there,
Yep.
dog food, and so much more. But before we do, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We will be here all season long
Yep.
with more reviews of Pluribus, talking
Mhm.
through theories. We love hearing what you guys have to say in the comments as well.
We also have Fallout Season 2 coming up very, very soon. We're going to
Yes.
be covering that here at the channel, so hit that subscribe button. Follow us over on our Instagram, which is Matt and Just TV. We're going to have a whole bunch of pictures up this week. It is Thanksgiving coming up to all of
Yes.
you out there who is celebrating. Happy Thanksgiving to you guys.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. All right, so let's just start at the ending of this because I know that's what everybody is probably really jumping out of their
Yes.
chairs to talk about.
Okay, tinfoil hats,
All
everybody
right.
put them on. What is it that she saw? Because when she finally, she's going through everything, she's like, okay, I found this powder, kind of crystally powder, whatever. It's turning in this drink. We will get more into that. Leads her to, this bag that has this barcode to Sprouts, to the dog food, to the factories.
Yeah.
Okay, so she finally gets to the factory. She's looking through the factory. There's all kinds of food there. We're seeing watermelons and different types of fruit and whatever. Then she gets to this whole section that look like body bags. For anybody who doesn't know, my past profession was a funeral director. This looked like piles and piles and piles of bodies in plastic bags, like body bags. So when I first saw it, they did a good enough job of making it look like it could be a body, it could be something else. Like maybe it's not obviously a body, but it feels like a body. That I was like, okay, if she's then opening this up and she's seeing that it is a body, and they're all up and down all those racks all the way to the ceiling. I mean, that's pretty shocking, right?
Yeah.
I'm wondering if tinfoil hat, the powder that she is finding in this bags is cremated remains. And now if you do mix up cremated remains in water, because that's what she's saying is making it turn amber, that's not the case. That's not what happened. So it could be a mix of cremated remains and maybe something else.
I think that's very much on the table. I think there are so many different ways we have to view this whole situation, starting with just the fact that, all right, are we really supposed to be that morally ambiguous about what's caused everyone to become the joined all season?
Right.
We know, all right, there's an RNA signal. Did aliens send it? Did somebody else that like it? Ultimately, regardless, we're in a spot where these people are not acting like people anymore. And you have to find a reason behind all that. And if they are doing something to other people, all of a sudden that does get us more on Carol's side. And I think a lot of us, like Jess and I, we're already there already. Even
Yes.
if she's behaved recklessly, she's trying to do what she thinks is right. for all of the human race. It
Right.
also just makes sense that they're going to store something in a place they're clearly keeping pretty secretive that they don't want Carol, obviously, to find out about. If it's anything more benign than humans, it feels like it wouldn't require this. Also, the look on her face in the final seconds, this woman looked horrified. And we have to remember just one episode what happened with Zosha. So she would have to be horrified and also not hardened yet by everything else that has happened to her. So this has to be extreme.
It does. And for me, I would feel that unless it's humans, maybe animals, like, yeah, they've said that they can't kill, but at the same time, when they were transferring everybody over to be the join, they killed like 800 million people. What are they doing with all these bodies? Like, that's the thing, right? It's like, okay, we had a lot of people be part of the joined, there are no bodies anywhere. So they've obviously gone around and they have cleaned everything up. We saw a little bit of that in episode 2 where they are trying to clean that up. But where are they? What are they doing with them? Have they buried them? They're just, rotting in the streets, or are they grinding them up and they're using them to reabsorb?
It feels like they have to sustain themselves somehow. If these people are still people, and that's obviously
Right.
a big discussion in itself, but if
Yep.
they are, they need some sort of sustenance. And what we have heard from the joined already is they're operating under this MO of we need things to be as just efficient as possible.
Right.
If they can't kill people, and if they can't kill, period, does it then make sense for them to take things that are already there
Right.
and form their own separate concoction of it?
Mhm.
And I think the answer to all of that is yes. But then I think on top of all this, what's really, really interesting to me is this idea of okay, if you guys really can't take people out, everyone you've already made into the join, like they're going to run out of fuel eventually,
Mhm.
right? I find it very curious that while they may not be able to take out Carol, you could still confine Carol to the place. You could do something to trap her. And I know all of the joined left for the time being, but it doesn't seem like it's permanent.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I still really feel like that clock is the thing that is coming into play, that we saw it start and then go down, and then the day that everything happened, and now it's going back up again. It feels like that clock and that time where we started is where it's going to end. And if the join does not get those 13 people on board, everybody's done for. So I think for them, if they do try to isolate Carol and make it a situation where, yeah, they technically didn't kill her, but something, the wolves came in and dealt with it, whatever, that would then possibly either hurt them or stop them from being able to move forward. That the reason why they're here to please you and do anything you want is to make sure you do not die, because they need you to not die.
And this is where I start getting very tinfoil hatty on all of this, where I'm thinking, all right, you guys have presented this idea of we've all moved away. Is that to appease the greater join? Do you still have some protective measures in place? Or if we're going to get really, really dark about it, do you still need Carol around to potentially take out more people down the line, regardless of if she needs to or not, because you guys are eventually going to need more food?
Yeah, I mean, I'm figuring that at this point, because they knew what Carol was up to, they know that she's willing to do anything. She's willing to hurt
Hmm.
Zosha, hurt any of them, to be able to get the answers, how to reverse this. They obviously don't want that. Then, it doesn't have to be Zosha. It could be somebody Carol doesn't care about at all and doesn't have any feelings for at all, that she does something like this to get those answers. So I understand why the joined was like, you know what? We are still here to serve you, but you're not going to have access to any of us anymore. We are all leaving town. You are not going to have an opportunity to do something like this again. We will have to switch back and forth with these recorded voices, and we will send in drones whenever you want your trash taken. That was so funny. It reminded me of the Breaking Bad pizza thing where it just ended up on the roof forever, where the drone was like, got caught in the lamp and garbage everywhere. I was like, yes.
Best robot trash moments since the movie Wall-E for me. Like all of that was really, really fantastic. And when you do have an episode that's paced slow, you do
Have to have a
appreciate.
little laugh.
Yeah, you need a laugh. You need a visual that's like this. I feel like the real takeaway from the join skipping town here, beyond all of the various theories that we've come up with so far, is it just makes me feel like you guys really are emotional in some way here, because you're having an emotional reaction. And yeah, you might view it in some ways as logical. Okay, we don't want something to happen to us, but
Mhm.
we're leaving. But the idea that you really think that Carol is going to wander around to every single person in Albuquerque and try to replicate what she just did to Zosha, it is a little bit extreme. So I
Yes.
am like, yeah, all right, you guys are capable of thinking in an emotional way. And beyond all that, like you said with Zosha, they had a reaction to using her to get to Carol in the first place. So they do have a directive that's a little bit different than what they're presenting to Carol so far.
I think they just didn't expect any of the 13 to actually be going as far as Carol is going to get answers, because a lot of them have come around. Some of them we don't know what's going on at all. We know Manusos is out there just being like, leave me alone. I'm just going
Yeah.
to stay in the storage facility and that's it. I just don't want any contact. But Carol may be the only person out there actually trying to find a way to experiment back on them to find out what it is. How are we able to reverse this? They're on their side. They have the whole collective over there trying to figure out how to turn Carol. Well, now Carol's out here doing the same thing to them.
Yeah, and one of the things that's going to be very exciting now is that clearly they're going to realize that either they underestimated Carol or they deliberately left some of this stuff because they wanted it eventually to be found. Like, it is very curious that you guys have a dog food bag with that barcode at the Sprouts that she just so happens to regularly frequent. So is this all a little bit of an experiment on your end, a testing ground to kind of see what Carol's capable of?
Yeah, it felt like Carol just got very lucky, because if I'm sort of like really digging into that and letting that sit on me, I'd be like, this is too much of a coincidence that she just got really lucky that she had to bring her garbage to, the city to put it in the trash. Oh, look, here's the milk. Here, it's bringing us to this, bringing us to that. It felt just too coincidental, too lucky. It worked out too well. One episode. I would have believed it a little more if it had been spread out over two. I think the season needs to be a little longer.
Yes, 90% of all TV these days needs to be a little bit longer. Like, what are we doing with this limited number of episodes? But all right, I want to talk about dog food, because this is the second episode of Pluribus in a row where dog food has had a pretty big role front and center. So what is Vince trying to tell us here?
Plus the wolves that came in.
Yeah.
Like, even when the wolves came in, I was like, I don't think I've really seen much in the way of other animals left. It's like
No.
all the humans are all joined and all the animals are poof.
It feels like there's a big distinction on this show right now between humans and non-humans, and the non-human part of it is being represented by dogs, because I don't think Vince, even if this is aliens, I don't think he wants to venture fully into little green men territory with this show. So I think he's looking for something that can ground it a little bit more, ground as a pun intended here. So with the dog food, I think it's representing for Carol as she's finding it. Okay, this is something that you feed to dogs, something that's non-human. So just ergo, that is something that differentiates all of the joined from me, that they're different than me, and therefore this is a problem for me to solve. But then with Manusos, I think the real irony that he's playing with here is, here's a guy willingly eating dog food. He is so desperate to avoid the quote unquote human food that these possible non-humans are giving him, that he's willing to stoop to a non-human level. And so I think if we ever see Manusos eating real actual human food again, then he's probably going to be feeling safe or very, very much different from what he has been so far.
Yeah.
It's really interesting though to see how he plays around with symbols like that. I also found it interesting and a little bit on the nose that one of the books that Carol was reading was And Then There Was One by Agatha Christie.
I know, I saw that too. I was like, okay.
Yeah, it's like, okay, Vince, we get it. You love visual clues, sometimes like the dog food. Like, I think that one is going to pay off in some sort of interesting way down the road here.
Yeah, and I think there's also very much the story that he's telling of humans need other humans, and you have to join that are all together, and they are humans with other humans, potentially at this
Yeah.
point. We don't know all the ins and outs of it. But Carol is by herself, and they've made the city dark, her watching everybody leaving, her trying to actually navigate without the help of other humans, things as simple as having trash pickup or
Mhm.
trying to move stones to be able to cover over Helen's grave, all of these different things that by the time she does look over and her bed is empty, the town is empty, everything is empty, I truly still feel that at the core of this story, this is a story about humans needing other humans and love, and how this is it's so tied into everything that humans are.
I do believe that's where the pacing is effective in this episode because it does drop you into the world and you are seeing all these examples of what it is like for Carol to be by herself. Are some of the shots drawn out a little bit too long? Sure, at times. But I think the point needed to be made over and over again that
Mhm.
nothing in her life at this point is easy, even if the joined are willing to help via a drone that they're going to fly in here or there.
Yeah.
Let's talk now about Carol starting her own YouTube channel. And so she has decided she's going to make these videos in the hopes that someone out there listens. It's certainly not going to be Lakshmi who called and told her off, but maybe it's going to be one of these other people. She's not giving up yet, though you can just see how tough it is on her to keep recording all this stuff, not knowing if anyone is listening or not.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised at this point that she hasn't gone to look for something like a ham radio or ask them to just drop that off, because it feels like a lot of these end of the world type shows, and we
Mhm.
know, Manusos is looking through something like that as well. People do go back to older technology to be able to try to reach out to anybody else anywhere through radio frequencies. So I'm kind of surprised she's still relying on the joined in any kind of way. Yeah, they have to do what she wants,
Yeah.
kind of like, then maybe they won't put it straight in people's hands, but they know that they'll drop that outside of Manusos's place, and he's not touching anything that they drop off for him.
No, and they can operate with that line of logic. I think the really difficult thing here for Carol and what makes her in a spot where she's kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place is just that in theory, it would make sense here for her to have the Carol TV Twitch channel where she just goes on there and live streams and shares
Yeah.
it so that people can check it out at any given time. But she's probably sitting back and thinking about, all right, who's operating all these servers now? Who is maintaining all of them, the joined, unless you do find older technology like you're suggesting, which, yeah, she should be on the lookout for. She's in this spot where she's finding herself constantly at the mercy of these complete strangers who may not want the best for her. And she recognizes, all right, putting this out there, giving these videos to them, it's a shot in the dark. And yet, somehow, I don't even think this is a tinfoil hat theory. I just feel like Manusos is perhaps going to see one of these videos in some shape or form, and this is going to be something that really opens the door to him, provided that he can understand anything that Carol is saying.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually really surprised at this point. I know they want to keep it in Albuquerque, but I'm kind of surprised that Carol has nothing holding her there anymore. Helen
No,
is gone, in the ground. Her place is empty. There's nobody there anymore. Why hasn't at this point she just made the call to be like, okay, I met these people. They don't want anything to do with me, but there's still this many people out here. Why not at that point be like, okay, Manusis has hung up on me a couple times.
yeah,
Maybe I just need to go there. Fuel up the plane, take
yeah.
me out there, bring me to his doorstep. Start making those face to faces with every single person that's left.
Yeah. What do you have to lose? I understand if you're probably frustrated, if you're sulking, if you're feeling all these emotions. Guess what? Everybody feels those emotions, but it does feel
Except the
like,
join, they're happy all the time.
sure, joined, sure. But you guys joined, I don't know why I'm speaking like you're listening.
They're always listening.
They have a biological imperative. And because of that, Carol, you need to know they're not going to stop. They're going to keep going. The moment I heard the word imperative, that is when I would start freaking out and when I would start making a little bit more elaborate moves. Now, moving into the next part of the season, I do think the joined are going to have to come back in some sort of physical form because the moment that Carol makes this discovery, provided that this is something she's not supposed to see, I don't think you can just sort of put her at arm's length anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends, right? Like, it depends what's under those plastic bags. If it's people and they have, killed off quite a lot of people, then they've got food to sustain them until the clock runs out. 800 million people, like, if that's what it really is, just ground up cremated remains, they'll be fine until the clock runs out. There's lots of food for them then. That at that point, she would have to go everywhere and try to collect all this one factory, it's not going to be enough to stop anything. They may not care.
I just hope for me, joined, once again, I will speak to you. I really
They're
hope
listening.
I hope that you care. Mostly because while this episode was very well done, really well shot, and effective, I don't need a lot more episodes that are all this paced in this particular way. Like, I need to now see Carol with some more people again, with some more direct challenges. I need Zosha to be roped back into all of this because it just feels like if the joined are willing to have her go through what she's gone through, I don't think they're just going to be like, all right, Zosha, you've done your time. Now you can go over there. It's like they're gonna find a way to bring her back into this.
I just think I'm very interested to see where it goes because it feels like they've been kind of written themselves into a corner at this
Yes.
point. Like, why would the joined, knowing that Carol is willing to do anything to them and will continue to do other things, maybe she won't do that one thing again, but she'll do something else and she could find the answer. Why would they allow themselves to be anywhere near her at this point? I wouldn't, if that's, my imperative to get through all this where you can't find out how to reverse this. Well, the only way you're going to find that out is if you're near any of us. So yeah, now it's just the drones. There has to be a real reason for them to come back.
This is why I'm so excited about what's going to be coming up the rest of the way, because the best thing about this show is they have managed to surprise me almost every single week. I did not think that they were all just going to peace out on Albuquerque at the end of this past episode.
Yeah, it was shocking.
I'm sure they have an explanation. Maybe they're just going to borrow the hazmat suits from Walt and Jesse and they're going to wander around in here pretending that I'm sure Vince has an idea for all of this. I'm just very excited to see what that is.
Yes.
But that is where we are coming out of Pluribus season 1, episode 5.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think is going on at this factory? Are we inching closer to something really twisted?
Mm-hmm.
Let us know in the comments, and also hit that subscribe button and help us get to 100,000 here on YouTube. We appreciate that so much. We will see you here next time.